let's just cover a little bit of all of it. That's cool, man.
All right, sounds good.
All right. What is up, y'all? Welcome to the Three Wiggle Golf Show. I'm your host, Cole, where we talk shop, always go for it in two, and never, ever three putt first. Thank you guys all for tuning in. If this is your first time listening, thank you for being here and supporting the show. We're happy to have you. On this episode, we have another guest. His name is Brian Bailie. He is the owner of GolfCask. He is a golf coach specializing in the area of short game. And from the cask part of GolfCask, he is a whiskey connoisseur. So, Brian, welcome.
Guilty is charged to all of that.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we just met all of 3 minutes ago. We're kind of just doing that quick and dirty thing, but tell me a little bit about yourself and, our listeners about what GolfCask is, what you do. Obviously, you're very involved in the coaching side of things and involved in golf that way, but also you do have this passion for whiskey that you have cross-pollinated the two.
No, I've been coaching golf for 30 years. So I'm an old dude. I'm, 53. I've been around the golf industry for a long time. Collegiately taught for close to 20 years. Taught at the D3, D2, and D1 level. My last 11 years was at the University of Virginia. At the University of Virginia, both of the coaches were really good swing coaches. So I said, I'm going to solve this putting thing. It's been about 20 years now. Haven't solved it. Gotten better, but haven't solved it. Got into short game at the same time. So I kind of niched my way into short game and putting. And at one time I had 6 LPGA players I was working with. So I've been very fortunate on the golf side. So if there's any putting short game questions, feel free to take that. But I was actually teaching in Ireland with a friend of mine named Gareth McShay. He's an Irish instructor, and we had a group of people with us. We just finished teaching on this beautiful golf course, roll straight into this beautiful pub, sitting down, drinking wonderful Irish whiskey. And I'm like, why the heck are we not doing this like always and bringing people with us?
Yeah.
So the genesis of GolfCask was, bringing people to wonderful locations, playing golf, drinking whiskey, and just making memories and having experiences. I think today in this wonderful world, we get kind of doom scrolling and we get very insular and very, stuck in our houses or whatnot. We want to blow the mold and say, no, we're about meeting up, having fun, doing the things that slow down, that kind of defeat the purpose of every modern convenience. Like, inside of GolfCask, we're golf whiskey, and we've kind of gotten into cigars because what I've come to learn is all the guys inside the system, they all love golf. Well, not all. Some like golf. Some like whiskey, and basically they all like cigars.
Yeah, right.
So we started doing a lot of cigar stuff. But if you think about it, a cigar takes 45 minutes to an hour to smoke. If you sit down and enjoy a good pour, a good whiskey, you're looking at a half hour. And if you're playing a round of golf, well, depends on the course. It could be an hour and a half for 9, or it could be, 8 hours for 18. But no matter how you look at it, you got to slow down and kind of enjoy the people and the things around you. So that was kind of the genesis of what we've created here. And it's been a wacky and crazy fun couple years.
Yeah, for sure. I don't obviously through Wiggle, and you kind of mentioned it, like I'm very just golf centric. However, the thing that I really was excited to talk to you about, like, was the whiskey side of it. So I have just recently, I'm 30, but in the last 4 years, one of my very close friends he's on your level, man. He knows how to talk all the mash bills. He's very, like in the know
snobs.
About the bird, 100%. But what's crazy is he's got such a collection that early on, even not being somebody who has any type of developed palate, he's like, listen, try this versus, your Jim Beam out of the bottle. And it's like, whoa, even not having that level of detail on a palate, you can tell good whiskey from.
You can.
Now,
don't get me wrong, like the big brands, the Jim Beam, the Jack Daniels, the Buffalo, like they make very, very great entry whiskeys that are good whiskeys. But when you start to play around in the whiskey verse, it's like golf courses, right?
Yes.
There's some great golf courses, but then there's some. You tee it up at Cypress Point, and you're just like, whoa, this is different.
A little different experience.
This is different.
100%. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I want to definitely just talk on your cask stuff. So you do a lot of reviews. That's a big part, I guess, of what you do. Was that your first point into like, here's how I'm going to merge these two together?
Well, inside the social sphere, trying to find people is hard. So what I found that worked really well were blind tastings. So basically, it makes me look like a fool, right? So I put a whiskey that I don't know what it is. I taste it. I give you my guesses on, what region did it come from? Is it an Irish? Is it a Scotch? Is it a bourbon? What is the age? What is the what am I thinking? Age, the proof, and what
Yeah.
is the main grain?
Yeah.
Right. So just literally a whiskey in front of me. I know nothing about it. I taste it and I try to guess it. I usually fail miserably. Sometimes I do pretty well, but I usually fail miserably. And then at the end, I give you basically, here was the whiskey. Here's an interesting piece about the whiskey. Go find it. And
Yeah.
that seems to have worked really, really well inside of social media to come. But inside our system, we have a video platform where we'll do much longer reviews and much longer talks on whiskeys and things. So to me, I'm an educator at heart, right? I was a high school teacher, kind of got into the golf industry, had very good success inside the golf industry, really enjoyed the golf industry. But during that time, I had a love for whiskey, and I really started to. I'm a tinkerer by nature, right? So once you kind of get me nudged in one direction, I want to solve it. Like
Yeah.
putting, like I literally deep dive for about 5 years, where I couldn't read enough on putting, and the same thing with whiskey. I just went deep dive, and now I'm deep diving in cigars, which is absolutely a fascinating world in itself. Never thought I would have been doing that, but to me, the chase, the fun of that is really the fun part. So when we do our videos, it's just lighthearted. We don't want to ever Our goal is never to be the jerks. Oh, you don't understand what a single malt is versus a. Who cares?
Right.
Do you like it? So even like inside of our tasting side, we're like, give us 3 flavors. We're not saying give us sawdust or, you know, peanut brittle dust on top of star fruit. Like, no, caramel, love it. Sugar, sweet. That's fine. Like, whatever you pull from it is what we want, because the beauty of it is the more you do it, the more your palate will get better. And then as your palate really grows, that'll help. But the beauty inside of the rankings is you can look at other people's rankings, find people that you like inside the system and follow what they like and go, all right, so, Brian says when I drank Leopold bottle and bonded bourbon, I should get some minty herbalness. Let's see if I can go find this minty herbalness. So what I find a lot of times, sorry, sidebar, a lot of people with their palates are actually really good. The problem is they don't have the words or that connection to say, this is what
Like
I'm
the
tasting.
association.
Yeah, they have the flavor and like, I know this, but I don't know what it's called. So, the beauty of taste and golf is like this as well. Your ability to recall is to put a memory with it, right? So like as a kid, we used to make, again, I'm dating myself. We used to make ice cream in the garage with the wooden ice cream maker with the hand
Yeah. Oh
crank and
yeah.
the
Oh
Epsom
yeah.
salt. Like you would work hours to make like a pint and whatever. But as a kid, we did vanilla ice cream always. So to me, I get a whiff of vanilla. I instantaneously go back to that time in my life. So
Yeah.
you can never slide vanilla past me, because as soon as I'm like, oh, that's vanilla,
Yeah.
then the memory of.
Yeah.
So the really cool part is, if you want your palate to get better, don't do it sitting by yourself. Go out with friends and create that moment, that piece of history, and then you'll be able to recall flavors
Yeah.
much better.
Yeah. No, that's a really great tidbit there. I will do that in the future. Really quick. So let me just tell you. So I'm going to tell you, I've got empty bottles that I've saved
Nice.
of my collection.
You
So
need to get those refilled.
I know, I know. So I've got just okay. So what I'll tell you that I have learned in my personal whiskey endeavor is I prefer ryes. I like ryes the most. I'm a
I'm
rye
a rye
guy.
guy.
Yep.
I'm a rye guy.
It started with old fashioned, but now I'm to the point where I just prefer rye neat. Like not even on the rock. So, but anyway, so I like rye, bourbon second. I like some scotches. I don't like other scotches. That's a pretty tricky business for me.
Scotch it's a different field.
And I like Irish whiskeys. So, all right, I got a Bullet Rye. I got a
Okay.
Whistle Pig 12. I got a Four
Nice.
Roses small batch.
Okay.
Breaker, Elijah Craig small batch. Monkey Shoulder. There's my scotch.
Monkey shoulder is your scotch.
A Buffalo Trace, Redneck Riviera, tin cup, and then I do have one empty bottle of Blanton's. It was a gift.
All right. Redneck Riviera. I love that.
Do you?
Yeah, no, it's trash rock gut, but the story and all that is great.
Do you
What's
know?
the country sing? What's the country singer?
I don't
That
know.
does
Oh,
he does
Rock Gut
redneck.
whiskey.
Redneck Riviera is Big and Rich. So Rich, Big,
Yeah.
the group Big and Rich. So
Yeah.
I can't think of his name right now, but
Okay.
he's kind of the owner, and he has a dive bar in Nashville. But yeah, Redneck
Okay.
Riviera is classic.
I didn't know that. No, I don't know. Do you know Stale Cracker on social media?
Uh,
No, he's this like Cajun guy who does Cajun cooking videos. He's got like 8 million followers, but I saw he does like an infinity barrel where he pours all these whiskeys in a thing, and
yeah,
he does Redneck Riviera pretty awesome. So I was like, oh, I'll
no,
get that and try it. But anyway, so
John
I'm
Rich.
I'm get
That's the guy,
John
John
Rich.
Rich. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun, just kind of exploring a little bit and finding new things, finding out what you like. Like that Whistle Pig 12. I don't know. I'm sure you've had that, but
yeah.
that's probably like my favorite whiskey.
You can't go wrong with any of the Whistle Pig lineup. I mean, the other night, I have a friend of mine that has what we call the Whiskey Lounge. He built a 20 by 30 shed behind his house, and it's got reclaimed floors. It's got beams from like the wild turkey place that caught on like a couple hundred bottles on the wall. And me and my buddy were sitting over there. We're talking GolfCask stuff, and he does a lot of stuff with us. And he just got the Boss Hog that was sitting up in the corner, and the other guy I was with is like, "Tell me about that one." And he goes, "I haven't opened it yet." And we're like, "Oh, that's cool." And he kind of talked about it. And then he walked over and just goes, "Crack." And he starts pouring us a glass. And I'm like, "That's a $600 bottle, buddy." But now that you do it, I'm not going to turn it away.
Correct. Yeah.
But again, really a spectacular whiskey. But no, I think if you like good ryes,
Yeah. Give me a recommendation, please.
Wild Turkey Rare Breed, their rye.
Okay.
Used to be hard to find, but it's actually pretty easy to find now. It's
Wild
really
Turkey
good.
Rare Breed.
Yeah. Canadian wise, this is spectacular. Alberta Premium.
Oh, I
It's a
love that
Canadian
bottle.
rye. Really good. If you like the really, really spicy ryes, now you're kind of getting into the Maryland and the Northeast. So the rye up through the Northeast is really, really spicy. The rye in the Midwest is a little less. So where they actually get the rye from actually can enhance flavors. So Sagamore is good. There's a group called Wheelhorse I absolutely love. I think they're based out of Colorado. Really good ryes as well. But yeah, I'm a rye guy too. And a lot of people, if you're getting into the whiskey world, starting with cocktails is the best way to go. Start with a cocktail or a mixer. And there's over time, drop the simple syrup a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're doing ginger and whiskey, a little less ginger, right? Just start to kind of creep that back to where the whiskey becomes more forward. And then once you start liking that flavor, you can keep peeling it back and back. And then before too long, you'll be drinking neat with the rest of us looking down at all the other cocktail people going, I can't believe they're wasting that fine spirit. No, I'm kidding. To me,
Dude, that's
whiskey's drink
exactly.
it like
It's
you
funny
like
you
it.
say that. I'm like, you don't know what you're missing, man. Like,
Yeah.
you got all that
Well,
ice in there. You're ruining it.
Well, this guy or gal has spent, they created a craft. They stuck it in a barrel for 8 years, 10 years, whatever that is. And then just to see somebody pour like a Coke right on top without trying it, it's
I
like a
know.
chef. Before you ask for the salt, just try it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it needs salt, add it, but at least try it neat, and then you can go for it. But no, I've actually had the good fortune to sit down with a lot of distillers, and a lot of the distillers are like, the only way I drink whiskey is with ginger. So they drink ginger ale and whiskey, and these are the actual guys. I think Taylor was one as well. Like one of the biggest names in whiskey was like, no, I just drink it with ginger. So again, there is no right or wrong. The key is find the way that you enjoy your whiskey and go with it. And again, there's no right or wrong as long as you enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that, very lighthearted and like subtle scoff at like, not drinking it neat. It's the same, like, man, I eat steak with A1 and I'm totally okay with it because that's how I like to eat steak. But that's the exact same thing, right? You're going to have so many people.
I know, and I have a lot of whiskey snob friends that are very funny, and they get very judgmental of people. But I'm like, hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
and again, it's a high proof whiskey. It's a high proof alcohol. So for some people, they need that
Yeah.
water to help cut it, or they need that ice cube to help cut some of the proof and unlock some
That was
flavors as
me.
well.
That was
Yeah,
me early on. I remember with my buddy Tim having me try some of his drinks neat. And I'd be like,
yeah,
whoa, like that's gas, feels like gasoline going down my throat, But over time,
yeah.
you develop it. But
I can
anyways,
give you another great nosing trick is when you take these are called Glencairn glasses, right? They look
yes.
like little
Yep.
smokestacks. So when you being fancy, when you nose it, whatnot. So what I found with a lot of newbies, kind of in is I take a glass. If so, we have some people coming over for a tasting. I will take a couple glasses. I'll pour the whiskey in, stir it around, and I'll pour the whiskey back in the bottle. Remember, high proof whiskey, it's like hand cleaner. It's all good. And then just let the glass sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. So what happens is all the ethanol will evaporate. And then inside the glass is all the smells without the alcohol being in the way. Because where most people go wrong when they first start nosing whiskey and trying to be connoisseurs is, they might stick their nose in a high proof whiskey and they'll just blow up their olfactory and they won't be able to smell anything for the rest of the day. But again, or they smell the ethanol and they say the whiskey, I can't get anything that just smells harsh. But once that ethanol peels off, you can start to get those, the sweeteners, the vanilla, and all that much easier. So that's a really easy trick
I
to
love
kind of
that. I
get you
can't wait
moving.
to try that. So you're
Yeah.
saying you're gonna smell more of like those, like that caramel and that like oak or whatever it
You're
is,
going
or
to get
the
all those esters and ethylenes and all of the chemical compounds because the actual alcohol is not there creating havoc. Again, yeah, so it's a really good way to start so you basically go in there, you nose it, what do you smell? What do you smell? Awesome. I always say find one or two things, nothing more than that. I really smell this, I smell that, great. Put the whiskey in there, take your first sip. Your first sip is a primer. It's going to burn, it's going to suck. It's high proof alcohol, it could be anywhere from 80 proof to
95, 96, 97.
120,
Oh,
125. It
really? Oh,
depends
God.
on where you want to go. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I have Wild Turkey Rare Breeds 116. I have an Elijah Craig at 127. So it can go as
I mean, is there still flavor at that point? Like truly?
yes, yes, there are. So what you tend to find out is a lot of the higher proofs would be what they would call a cast strength. So whatever goes in the barrel, it comes out of the barrel. So it's not cut with water. So your 80 proof whiskeys typically are coming out of the barrel, probably somewhere in the ones, and then they're going to add a little bit of water to bring the proof down, make a little more money. It's brilliant, right? Water it down, send it out. So your cast strengths, as a whiskey, it can't go in the barrel higher than 125. So now how does a whiskey get to 140? Because as it oxidizes and what they call the angel share, right? So as it sits in the barrel is waterproof, but it's not airproof. So actually evaporation happens. So you lose a percentage of alcohol every year it sits on the shelf. But what happens is when it starts to evaporate, oxygen comes in, and that oxygen actually is a great flavor creator inside the whiskey. That's why it has to sit for years to be smoother and taste better. And then with your cask strengths, that's how that oxidation and all is how proof will actually rise, is because you're starting to decrease the amount of volume, so your proof will actually go up inside the barrel. Yeah, it's so yeah, I to me, I like a whiskey that'll fight back. That's kind of my running joke. So for me, 110 is kind of my 110 to 120 is nice. It's got a little punch,
Yeah.
tells you you're alive. It's going to fight a little bit, but like all of them, that second and third sip, once you do the primer sip. So a primer sip, literally you put it in your mouth, swish it around 5, 10 seconds, swallow it. Don't look for a lot of flavors. Don't really care at that point. It's going to be painful.
Yeah. You just got to get past it. Yeah.
It's going to be a warm hug. It's going to go down your throat. But if you're willing to go in for the second sip, your body kind of adjusts to it, understands what's coming, and then you can start to pull those flavors and start to really hone in onto those pieces. So, like I said, once you've nosed it, pour the whiskey in, done your initial primer sip, then say, "Hey, I'm really looking for caramel, or I'm really looking for butterscotch, or vanilla, or melon, or citrus, or all nuttiness, like all these pieces in there." And that's a great way to kind of train and get better. And then once you peg it, man, it's over. You're like, all right,
Yeah.
I got vanilla, or
Yeah.
I
I
got,
feel like
whatever.
generally speaking, and maybe it's just because of how the cookies crumbled, but oftentimes when I smell it, I immediately smell like caramel or vanilla. I feel like it's the first two things I smell.
If you got a good bourbon, you're gonna get probably some sort of caramel, and you're definitely gonna get vanilla. So the vanilla and caramel comes from the burning or the charring of the barrel,
Okay.
right? So when you use a bourbon, it has to be a brand new white oak container barrel. And then, like I said, when they char the inside, that acts as a filter to take away components that you don't want. So it's a filtering mechanism, but it also unlocks the sweetness in the wood. So white oak happens to have vanillin, and which one's caramel? It starts with a L. I can't think of it right now, but it actually has these esters and these molecules that over time will release into the whiskey and give you that caramel. So when it comes off the still, it doesn't have caramel, it doesn't have vanilla. All that's coming from the barrel. And I always say, to me, the barrel is like face control. It's 80 to 90% of what's getting ready to happen is how good am I controlling that face, right? 80 to 90% of flavor is going to come out of the barrel. Like my putting stroke, 80 to 90% of my start line is wherever that daggone face is pointing. Those two are very similar to each other. So yeah, so the really cool part is if you've ever had moonshine, or if you've ever had kind of the white dog, the distillant that comes before they put it in the barrel, completely different experience.
Okay. Yeah.
Completely different experience.
Yeah, I've never had moonshine, so I can't speak to that. But so I'm curious, man. You have a wealth of knowledge in this area. Do you ever think about, or has it ever crossed your mind to like start distilling your own whiskeys, or
God,
again,
no.
just a headache you just don't want to get into, kind of thing, or just too much
Yeah,
commitment?
no. The dealing with the government, like just the paperwork of doing it. I enjoy their craft and enjoying their craft.
Yeah, and the
It's
products
like
of
as
their
a golf
craft.
coach, like I don't play nearly as much golf as I want to play. So, if I got into this, I would probably not enjoy all the parts. No, it's hard work. It's a challenge. And again, you got to think every whiskey, 50% of the price of your whiskey is taxes, right? So if it's $100 bottle of whiskey, 50 of that's going back to the government. Roughly 50% of that is actually going to the distiller.
Yeah.
So no, the hoops that they have to jump through is staggering. And I've gotten to know a lot of really like the craft distillers, a lot of guys and gals. And my number one question is, why did you do this? Like, why would you do this? And they're like, well, looking back on it, but I'm in it
Hindsight's
now, so
2020.
I'm running. But there you go, it's a career decision. But it's a hard market, and inside the States, there's roughly 3,000 distillers. Back in the 70s and 80s, kind of when whiskey collapsed, we were down to under 100 distillers in the entire country. Ireland was down to like 5. So kind of 60s and 70s and 80s, whiskey kind of was thought of as the old person drink. Everyone, then here came 007 drinking his martinis, and vodka
Yeah.
was really, the clear liquids really took off, especially with cocktails. So whiskey almost walked away, but it had a resurgence, a lot of it, and then it's been
Now it
crazy
seems as
since.
popular as ever.
It is, it's slowed down a little bit, but yeah, it's crazy. And, you have all types. You got collectors buying bottles. So us people that like to enjoy drinking whiskey can't find certain bottles and stuff. But no, it's still a crazy market. I know wine is kind of collapsing right now. They're having big deficits, 20-30% loss. But whiskey has been, and beer has kind of pulled back a little bit. Whiskey was really, really high, but it's
There's
still
also
averaging about 5-10% growth.
don't quote me on this because I don't actually have the figures, but I believe I've recently heard like within the last year that like alcohol use is down considerably
The younger generation doesn't
in the
drink.
younger generation.
Yeah, so your younger people coming through, alcohol is not, not as prevalent or is used. Now, I saw a psychologist the other day, was absolutely spectacular. He's like, yes, alcohol is a poison. It is. The body can process the poison and get rid of it as long as you don't overdo. But the component people forget about alcohol is that's where you go meet up with your buddies and having memories and experiences and bring that camaraderie. So a little bit of poison is okay in
Yeah.
moderation.
Yeah.
But again, if we just say whiskey's bad, fine, but you're still going out doing things with people, that's awesome. But if you're saying whiskey's bad and that's a reason that I won't go out and see people now we got a little problem
This is the
because
behavior
again,
issue. Yeah.
it's a behavior issue.
Yeah.
Exactly. So no, I think, and to me, alcohol gets a bad rap because again, it's all an intention. What's your intention tonight? Like inside of golf, tell me your intention. What were you trying to do? When I was younger in college, whiskey was a vehicle that I use completely different than nowadays. So literally nowadays I sit down and I have a pour. That's all I drink for the night. 30-40 minutes, a pour, have fun. That's it. Back in college, it might have been 6 or 7 of these things lined up, throwing them back over time. Completely different intention, right? My intention was trying to do something different that evening. I'm well past that. So I think again, yeah, the alcohol market is definitely pulling back. But there's still a lot of us. And I think the crazy thing, like with golfers, it's so I think in the United States there's 30 million golfers, give or take. 10% of them enjoy drinking on the course. Gotta love America, right? So 30 million, now we're down to 3 million. And of those, 10% like a whiskey neat. So we got probably 300,000 golfers in the US that would enjoy a neat whiskey on the golf course.
Yeah.
We're here for you.
Yeah.
We're here for you, man.
I love
Those
that.
are the
Yeah.
people we want to meet.
Yeah. I love that. I love the way you just broke that down. But I mean, that's a pretty big group of people when you think about it, because golf's a very niche sport and activity.
It is.
So, uh,
No, I think, and again, again, the beauty of GolfCask is we don't care what your ratio is. So if you come in and you're a golf nut, come on in. If you're 100% golf, I don't really enjoy a whiskey. I don't really care about cigars. There's enough content in the golf side, you'll be happy. If you're 100% whiskey, don't care, that's fine. Come on in. We got tons of whiskey content. But maybe, we always say, what's your ratio? Well, I'm, 40% golf, 30% whiskey, 20% cigars. Awesome. We got you. So again, it doesn't matter. A lot of people think GolfCast, it's golf. It's not. It's really whatever your passion is,
yeah.
will be there to support you
Inside
with.
of that kind of broad umbrella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And inside of our niche,
Yeah.
what is your ratio? Come and join us. So we
Well,
have a lot of guys and gals in there that just like whiskey. It's fine. That just like golf. Awesome. You're going to pull away with a lot of content from there as well.
yeah. Well, and I think you said in your email, you've got handful thousand or so like newsletter.
Yeah, I have about 4,500 on my newsletter right now.
Yeah. And so I would imagine between those people you actually meet and like bring in an arm around the shoulder kind of thing, that come in as we'll say 90, or maybe it's 100 whiskey to golf. Some of those,
They diverge.
some of them are gonna start playing golf just
I
by
have a couple.
proximity, like.
We have a couple guys in the system that came in, did not play golf at all, and now they're absolute maniacs.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, you need to tone this down a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
they've gone completely golf crazy. So no, I think anything like, yeah, to me, that I'm always about the first, right? And again, I'm a tinkerer. I'm always trying to learn. So to me, that bottle of whiskey that I've never had before, I have some pours that I really enjoy, but man, I love something new in front of me because
Yeah.
it's got a story.
Yeah.
Golf course is the same way. I love my home track, my home club. It's great. We play all the time. Man, I love playing a new course and go, what was the architect trying to do here? And how do my skill sets prepare me to attack this golf course today? Like, whose
Yeah.
skills are better? The architect's skills or my skills? Who's
Yeah.
better today?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with a cigar. Like, I know this is coming in, and to me, that the whole thing is what is this being produced? So to me, that first is the best. And I think a lot of times too, like if you've never played golf and you never had an intro into golf, like you just don't think of golf. But all of a sudden you start seeing content. I've created like for the first time golfer, here's like an entire educational piece. Like, what does it take to be a first time? Well, go to Dagon, Play It Against Sports, and buy a set of clubs at $80. Do not spend 1,000. Who cares right now? 4 clubs is all you need. Let's start here, and then we can start adding pieces as we go. And just say, hey, if you want to start golf, this is what it looks like. Same thing. You want to start whiskey, this is what it looks like. You want to start in the cigar world, this is what it. So again, what we're trying to do is just say, hey, here's some entryways, some very clean, easy ways, some write-ups, some videos, kind of introduce you to it. But yeah, our goal again is, inside the platform, we have an interactive map so you can land anywhere in the world. Especially, I've done my due diligence in Ireland for you. So you can land in Dublin and there's like 100 pubs I've been to. I've
Really? Okay.
certified them. I've been to every single one of them. I love them.
Shit.
So that's the things I do for my membership. I just don't willy-nilly just create now. So
Yeah.
I think to me that the fun part is ideally in the perfect system, Cole, you'd fly to LA. I'm going to go interview. So said touring pro, but I have a half a day. Well, you'd be able to fire up the app and say what whiskey bars are closed, what golf courses are closed, what members inside the system are closed. Maybe a member can go play 9 holes with you, maybe go do a pour with you. So what we're really trying to build more than anything is that community, that ability to, no matter where you go in the world, you can get insight or meet up with somebody, create a new memory. And that's really the community part is what I'm really trying to build.
That's super badass. I love that component. So is it an app essentially, or is it gonna
Not
be
right
an
now.
app or
It's a web-based website. So right now it does convert to your phone very well, but
yeah,
it is web-based.
yeah.
So in the system, you have the map. We have what we call poor decisions, which is our ranking system.
I
So you can
love
rank
that.
golf courses, whiskeys, pubs, lounges, cigar lounges, cigars. So you'll be able to go in distilleries. You'll be able to go in and rank those. And then we have leaderboards and stuff. We have what we call the 19th hole, which is our group board, where basically every tasting I do, I stick in there, and you guys can all rip me for how dumb I am, and I appreciate how dumb I am, so it does not bug me. So we have our banter section, which is called the 19th hole. We have Inside the Ropes, where I blog every day, basically, on the golf, whiskey, cigar world. So there's new content literally every day. We have On My Radar, which is your personal assistant. So if there's a whiskey or a cigar that you liked, you just go in the system and say tag it, and it'll stick it into My Radar. So the next time you're at the whiskey club or a lounge or whatever, you can say, this is a cigar I want to try, or this is the whiskey that I need to try, or I saw somebody in the system reviewed this. You put it into My Radar and says, so the next time you're at the whiskey bar, you can kind of scroll through and say, I'd like to try this. So that's in there. We just started the challenge series starting January 1. So each month I'm going to give you a challenge: golf challenge, whiskey challenge, cigar challenge, community challenge, and an adventure. An adventure would be travel challenge. And say, hey, in this month, there's 5 big challenges. Go do it. So it gives you the ability to maybe do something that you might not have.
Yeah,
And more so just opens up the banter of us talking back and forth. We do a lot of podcast stuff. And then in 2020, we have whiskey golf trails. This is going to be really fun. Starting late, we're booking everything out right now. Going to start filming. Basically, we're going to start with a stick. So it'll be a cigar. So either a manufacturer, cigar lounge owner, or a cigar enthusiast will say, I love this cigar and here's why. And then we take that back and we pair a whiskey to it. So this cigar matches really well with this whiskey. So we have a group, which we call the syndicate, which are 5 buddies of mine that we get together, all very knowledgeable. And we say, hey, here's a cigar, here's a whiskey, what pairs best? We do a little competition. We're going to film that, or we'll go to a distillery and the distiller will say, here's our options, taste this, what matches best with the cigar. Once we figure out the cigar and whiskey pairing, we're going to pair a golf course. And then we're going to talk to the teaching pro or the manager out of the golf course, get as much information about the golf course, make sure it's a right fit. And then once we get it right, we're going to open up the doors and say, hey, who's going to come join us? We're going to said golf course with said cigar,
yeah,
depending on alcohol rules. Said whiskey might be waiting for us at the
yeah.
turn, but let's go have a day. And
That's so fun.
we're going to start creating a bunch of those. And ideally, we want to take them all across the country. I'm
Yeah.
going to be in Ireland twice this year. We're going to do 2 in Ireland. And then, like I said, we'll go all through the U.S. and maybe Cole will come to your backyard.
Yeah, dude. So do you do GolfCask full time, Brian? Or is
I still
coaching
teach.
okay,
I
so
still coach
that's
a little bit, but mainly it's GolfCask right now. So, when I had that sit down with my friend and I'm burning the oils and coaching, I love coaching, but standing out on a putting green for 6 hours in a day can get a little getting
yeah,
old.
yeah,
It's not the easiest of work anymore. So I was like, man, how much fun I'm 53. How many more trips do I have around this big orb?
yeah.
Maybe it's 20. Okay, let's say 20. Well, can we make 10 or 15 of them just freaking
Awesome.
fun?
Yeah,
Can we just make 10 or 15 just a whole lot of fun? Make a
yeah,
little bit of money off of it, great. But
yeah,
more so, can we make this orbit a whole lot of fun? And
yeah,
again, that's kind of been my passion. So it's just, as a young entrepreneur, it's just trying to figure out where you can get in front of and try to get people to come into the system.
yeah. Good for you, man. I mean, you've done a really great job. It's apparent you've developed, you've built a small community. You're doing some really cool things that allow them opportunity to meet each other and connect, which is even more important, honestly. Um,
Yeah,
and then you got word of mouth, and you're able to do it and create a life out of it. I just think that's really
that's fun.
cool.
That's the beauty of it, man. If
Yeah.
the beauty of the world, especially in the US. I know a lot of people get mad at the US for a lot of things, but I'm gonna tell you right now, if you have a dream and a goal and a passion, if you can find a sliver of opening,
Take
man,
it.
it opens up and it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not easy,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey man, let's talk golf because we've kind of shit for 40 minutes. We dove into whiskey and I only booked this for an hour, so I don't want to keep you, but if you got a little extra time in it.
I'm going to chainsaw when I'm done with this, so the longer
Okay.
you keep me on, the better. So you can break
Okay.
this up into 2 episodes if you want.
Okay, okay. So you coach college golf at all levels for better part of 2 decades.
Mhm.
And then you've had a great opportunity to work with some LPGA pros. It sounds like you really focus in the areas of short game and putting. I don't really know where we want to start with that. So with your coaching, how did you get into that? Were you coaching? So you were a teacher. Were you coaching high school golf?
I started with high school golf, actually. So
Okay.
when I graduated college, I was a school teacher. I wanted to coach football because that's kind of the main sport I played. But in college, I fell in love with golf. I didn't really play golf until I went to college. I went to Virginia Tech. It had a on-campus course, $100 for the year, play as much golf as you want. Right? Okay, so I started playing. My
Pretty good
dad was
deal.
an avid golfer. He gave me a set of clubs that you might find time up in school. So I fell in love with golf. So self-taught, started shooting in the hundreds, got it down in the probably 80s. Pretty good athlete, but got it down in the 80s. Started to learn more and more. Started teaching high school. High school coaches are, we're fill-ins. We're just chaperones mainly. So I started to do that. The high school team had played well. I learned a bunch. Started at that point, I'm reading everything on the golf world, like just
Yeah.
anything inside of coaching, any sport inside of coaching, and then just reading golf centric stuff, which God, a lot of stuff I read was really, really bad. Now that I look back on it, but at the time it was good. Stumbled on a D3 program that was in the area. Started doing that for about 3 years, then got a Division II job, men's and women's at
Head co-
Lenore Ryan
head co- head
College,
co- head
head
coaching out of the
coach.
gate. Yeah. Okay.
So Lenore Ryan, I did almost 5 years at Lenore Ryan College, men's and women's, and then got the assistant women's job at the University of Virginia, and then did that for 11 years. And then kind of in that last 11 years of coaching is where I went into putting. Like I said, I was a good swing coach. I think the new coach that they hired was a spectacular swing coach. So I was like, this doesn't do us any service.
We don't need two people that are doing
We're
the same
good at the
thing.
same thing. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll out ball strike everybody, but we'll still suck. Right.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of spun off into the putting lane. And I really thought I could do it with technology, equipment, which are all pieces, but it did not really make things a lot better. So then the question to me is, what is that? And that has been my quest now for the last, God, 18, 20 years is the quest inside of putting. I've gotten pretty good at it. So it's understanding what components I have to be good at to be a good putter. And I always say most people get this completely wrong. Coaches get it wrong, players get it wrong. To be really good at golf, especially putting, is very simple in what you have to do. And to me, you have to be good at skills. Most people are trying to build a motion that does something. But what is the motion trying to do? It's trying to support face control. It's trying to support low point control. It's trying to support path control and distance control. So mechanically, those are the 4 skills we're trying to cover inside of a putting stroke. The problem is most people are trying to create a putting stroke hoping that it solves those 4 skills. So we do it a little bit backwards. We try to create a motion, but we don't think about the skill. So to me, when I coach, and this is kind of a massive change in me in the last 10 years, is what I kind of learned is if you teach them the skills builds the putting stroke. You don't have to build the motion. Once they understand the skills and how to accomplish the skills and start to lay the skills on top of each other, they build their putting stroke. So most people go wrong. They try to build a stroke that hopes that they cover everything. I try to get them to build a stroke knowing that they have the skills to move the putter correctly. And the beauty is when you understand the skills and you own that, when you're not doing well on the golf course, you can change it. You can fix it in round, where if you built a motion, you can't. Like, because you don't know what you're doing other than, is this right? Does it look right? Well, who
Right.
cares what it looks right? Is it moving functionally enough without causing injury,
Yeah.
to be able to perform well on a putting green? So that's where I think most people inside of putting, like the full game is spectacular nowadays, man. You got TrackMan, you got
Everything you
quad,
need.
you got
Everything.
everything you need. So much information pouring back. You got 6 degrees of freedom sensors. You got all this stuff, but still, putting's gotten better, but it's still pretty archaic.
Yeah.
It's still pretty. You know, you can read greens, you're either born with it or not. No, you can learn to read a green. You
Yeah.
can.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Yep.
putting stroke, no, you can build what you want to build,
Yep.
but you got to understand what you're trying to do. So I think having those skill pieces is really important. So, you know, in the off season, you guys are not, we're cold too, not nearly as cold as you, but we're cold too. So right now, like you should be doing skill practices. So one of my favorite drills is get 5 feet from the hole, straight putt. So you can get indoors on carpet. Ideally set up normal, do your normal putting stroke, but from back of stroke to ball, kind of as you're coming into the ball, I want you purposely closing the face where
Like
you burn
hooking
the
it,
left
like and
edge.
pulling it
I want
left.
you to somehow, I want you to close the face. So it's a face control game. I want you to physically control, close the face, burn the left edge. Then I want you to, next putt, I want you to burn the right edge, somehow open the face. And then there's our two variables, roughly 2 degrees of face variance at 5 feet. Now the third putt, find the middle. There's your variance, hit it through.
So you're basically teaching your students to adopt the basically the psychology of dispersion into their putting.
That's what this is what the game is. And it also shows you at 5 feet how bad you have to be to miss a 5 footer.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
you've got to be bad
Yeah.
on a straight putt to
Yeah.
sit there and not be able to. So, but what it also does is you'll find is many players will have a certain side. It's easy to close it or it's easy to
Yeah.
open it.
Yeah.
So they'll have one side they're really good. So they have a putting stroke with a tendency variance built into it,
Yeah.
which you need to understand.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Like
like.
I have to account, like for me, like personally, like I push. If I'm going
Yeah,
to miss a putt, the probability is that I push it. So I have to
I'm the
account for
same.
that in my setup.
I hate going left on a
Yeah.
putting green. I
Yeah.
hate it, hate it, hate it. My entire stroke's set up for me to go right. But I know that as myself. But a lot of players don't know that.
Yeah. Right.
They don't have that clue. So again, by having and then what they start to learn too is if there's a face closing, it is a joint issue, right? Path would be body parts. So where my upper arm, where's my forearm, where's my torso, like where's the big machine setting is path, right? So to close the face is a rotation piece. So the key too is they're going to start to learn what it feels like to close the face. And once you understand that it's either maybe a shoulder piece, maybe it's a forearm rotation, maybe it's a trail hand accelerate, whatever that is, they start to learn what it feels like for them to be able to close that club face. And then once you know it, it's like whiskey tasting. Once you've attached that feel and understanding, now I can do something about it. So if I'm on the golf course and I start to pull it and I start to feel my lead side slows down, so my right hand is over accelerating and shutting the face, I know what that feels like. So now when I'm over on the side practicing, I can turn my chest, I can come up with a system of things to fix it, opposed to, I don't know, I just hope it's going to get better. No, hope sucks.
Yeah.
Like, let's know what's happening.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
and then, like I said, and low point control is massive in putting. People don't ever think about low point. You think about it in wedges and short game and, you know, where am I interacting with the dirt? Well, putting is, am I hitting up on it?
Yeah.
Am I hitting
Am I
equator-ish? Or
causing it to bounce? And is it because I'm steep or because I'm hitting up on the golf ball?
I would say 95% of the people it's steep.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They see the ball hop, they immediately think I'm hitting too high. So
Yeah.
what do? I'm going to get steeper.
Yeah.
And all they're doing is just pounding the ball into the
Making
dirt
the ball go
and it's
higher
just
and
hopping.
higher.
Yeah. So again, the funny part is, and this is golf is such a fun game. It's kind of, it's always 100 degrees opposite. It's adverse, right? If I'm hitting it right, well, I'm going to aim more left. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
it gets more right
Yeah.
because now
Yeah.
I'm more left. I'm going to have to shove it further out to try to
Yeah.
hit it on target.
Yeah.
So golf is always a game of inverse proportions, right? So the funny part is most, and I see this in the sand game all the time. Like everyone's like, "Oh, look, I'm hitting it heavy." Are you? Oh, yeah,
What do
maybe.
you mean? Sorry, I'm not following.
So a lot of times with bunker, right? They tend to think, you know, so they tend to get really steep with the bunker and they go, oh, look, I'm catching the ball too clean. So they start to try to get steep and hit behind it. So instead of clipping and there's an upward component, your radius is shortening with either a lead arm or something. They just keep getting steeper. And then their chunks get deeper and deeper and
Yeah.
deeper
Right.
behind the ball. So they get steeper and steeper when you're like, actually, you got to shallow, or vice versa. A lot of times they're so shallow but they're clipping the top of the sand. It's like we got to get steeper. So a lot of times their understanding of what they're doing inside the bunker is 180 degrees opposite, and their fix just make. And I've seen college coaches. I remember sitting one time, we're at Long Branch down in no, Long Cove down in South Carolina. Really good player in the bunker is not getting it out. And their coach comes over and is just, they're too shallow, so they got to get steeper. And the coaches are like, look, you're hitting too far behind the ball. We've got to get you shallower. And I'm like, no. Like, I'm just sitting
Yeah.
there going, don't. So
Yeah.
it's just getting worse and worse by the swing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
just tell her to stick the handle in the ground. Draw a circle in front of the ball and say, I want you to put the handle, the first thing I want you to do is put the handle in it and then throw it out. But it was so funny, but it was just getting worse and worse. And I'm just like, my goodness. Oh,
Yeah.
well, it's not my team. I'm not worried
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But yeah, good.
go ahead. No, yeah. So I was just gonna say, so at this point, so you still do a lot of coaching, but do you coach out of a certain facility, or do you just do like private lessons with people that
Yeah,
reach out to you that?
I'm an independent contractor, so I work
Yeah.
out of Birdwood Golf Course here in Charlottesville, Virginia. That's the home of the University of Virginia Golf. So when I walked away from coaching, I looked at my wife. I said, all right, we can go anywhere in the world right now. We had younger kids. I was like, we can move anywhere. I can get a job coaching. She's a speech pathologist at a hospital. It's like, you can get a job anywhere.
Yeah.
We can go
Yeah.
anywhere in the world right now. And she goes, I really love it here. So I went to the pro staff and said, hey, I'm getting out of coaching. Collegiately, is it okay if I keep working here? And they're like, we'd love to have you. I was there for 11 years. They're like, we know you. You're a good dude.
Yeah.
So I pay a percentage to the club. And then the beauty is I just come in and set my hours and teach what I want to teach and who I want to teach. And yeah, I can't complain.
That's pretty
It's a good
sweet.
life.
Are you only doing short game like
I only
coaching,
do
or?
short game and putting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't spend enough time in the long game sphere
Yeah.
to coach it well. Like, if you've never swung a club, I can get you to swing a club well.
Yeah. Right.
But when you're starting to get into that 70s, most of the athletes I work with, they're all pretty good players. I'm pretty much all my referrals are college players, come from college coaches that I know,
Yeah.
aspiring touring professionals. I don't do tour pros much anymore because I don't like the tour pro lifestyle. When I had 5 players, like, they wanted me on the road, and my situation, I have a daughter with special needs, so one of my wife or I always have to be here. So
Right.
being on the road, it just didn't really
Not
work.
conducive
So
to your guys' lifestyle. Yeah.
no. So it didn't, and that's kind of, I created a golf data science company, did that for about 9 years, just walked away from that a little over a year ago. Best decision of my life. So I walked away from that company that I helped create. So I've always been in the performance side of golf, but yeah, no, I still love teaching. There's nothing better when you have that aha moment with a player where, like, oh,
Where you see
and
them get it. It's
and
the
it just
greatest.
clicks.
It's the
And
greatest.
I had a tour girl that was shooting in the 80s, really good player, but was just struggling. I'm working with her putting, and putting was good, but it just wasn't having enough opportunities. I put her up with a guy, a swing coach I know. I said, "You really go see him. I think he can help." Man, 3 months later, she is absolutely pure in the ball, got her tour card, played on tour for like 5 years. Like,
Snap.
so people say you can't get major gains quickly. Well, you can if you're a really good player and you fall back. You can erase a lot of that. But the concept of just, a true coach, and here, yeah, you can get me going on my soapbox on this, but a true coach empowers the player. A swing instructor powers the instructor. I'm the instructor. Here's what we do. Do this. Bye. Right. Well, I want you to know, as a coach, when you do this, this is going to happen. Let's predict what's going to happen. Let's watch what happens. Let's evaluate what happened. Let's take that feedback and let's keep doing that. Is that something you can reproduce? Now you own it. You don't need me
Yeah.
anymore,
Yeah.
other than every once in a while to kind of check up on things. So, so the funny part is, if you as a player really want to be a good player, you need to find a good coach. Doesn't mean they're a good instructor, means they are a good coach, means they understand how to engage you, how to motivate you, understand what's important to you, what your values are, and how can we teach to your values to allow you to move forward. The worst thing you can do is go see a good instructor that will make, okay, I'm hitting a hook. I don't want it to hook anymore. You spend a couple $100, they put you in front of a box, and you no longer hook it. It did not make you better. It just made you not
Not
hook on that
hooking.
day.
Yeah.
On that day,
Yeah.
right? Because you didn't learn or own anything. You just did these things that this person told you to do. Now, at this moment in time, I no longer do this. And to me, YouTube drives me crazy. Instagram, I go in and watch reels on Instagram. Oh, look, this is what they look like when they came in and they left looking like this. Show me 2 weeks from now when they haven't seen you. Let me see what they look like.
Yeah. Right.
It's not going to be that ideal one
Yeah.
swing that you just showed me.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's where I think, coaches need to do a better job of saying there's no easy way, but there are ways. If your goal is X, we can get there. And if you meet with a coach and you ask them, I want to get here, and they don't have a really good answer for you,
Yeah.
you might want to find a different coach.
Here's your sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a beautiful sign saying this might not be the right spot. Now, a good coach would say, let me think on this on how we can get you there. I love that. I don't
Yeah.
have the answer today, but you come by next session, man, I will have this pinned down.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they just sit there, I've heard horror stories where some of the best 100 instructors in the world, person goes, here's my bank account, I'll write you a check, I want to be scratched. And they're like, yeah, that's not what we do here.
Yeah.
It's not what we do here.
Yeah.
We prevent you. If you're hooking it, we'll make you cut it. If you're cutting it, we'll make you draw it. Like that's what we
Yeah.
do here. I was like, that's not. But again, to each their own. But yeah, so to me, finding the right coach is a challenge in itself. But if your goal is to be a great golfer, you need a coach or a number of coaches, depending on where my end goal is, right? If my end goal is to break 90, you can get away with one coach. They're
Yeah.
going to give you the
Yeah.
tools. But my goal is to get better and better and better, you're probably going to start to have a couple specialty coaches.
Yeah. 100%.
And the reason is, like I said, I don't spend enough time or have enough time in the day to be a really good swing coach, a really good short game coach, and a really good putting coach. Because if I try to do all three really, really well, it's just not enough in me. So that's why I think you're seeing that fragmentation in golf where you're seeing swing coaches, short game coaches, putting coaches, strength
Yeah.
coaches, nutritionalists,
Right.
sports management, data science.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
100%.
it's being fragmented out.
Yeah. Yeah. Golf's just a little bit late to the game in that regard. That's always been the case in other more, we'll say, visibly athletic sports, right?
Yes.
But golf has now gotten to the point where it's like, okay, in order to play golf at a very high elite level, like you do have to be in shape. You do have to have a mental coach. You do have to have a short game coach. You do have to have these things to compete because if everybody else has access to it and is utilizing those tools, you're losing because you're not,
Yeah, no, and I always say golf is about the hardest sport you can play. And I always just say, think of the best athletes in the world and then go watch them play golf. Some of them do it well. You have your usually baseball pitchers,
Yeah.
ice hockey players.
Yeah.
They tend to convert well. But you take like a basketball player, Charles Barkley was a mess. But even like LeBron James, one of the best athletes on the planet.
Ever.
If you watch his golf swing, you're kind of like,
I'll tell you what, though, his son Bronny, he got a smooth little swing.
yeah, Bronny's a little, but daddy swing is.
He needs some help.
Yeah, no. So, but the fun, and these are the best, some of the best athletes in the world, and they look, and they get humbled by a game where the ball doesn't move.
Yeah,
like, you just stay, like they just get humbled.
Well, this is something, man, I talk about on the podcast all the time, and when I'm working with people, if they're asking me for lessons, and it's just a here and there type of thing, I'm like, listen, like golf is so complicated, and then on top of that, it's non-reactionary. You have to decide to pull the trigger, which when you watch good golfers historically, they're very active those few seconds before they take the club back, right? They're positioning themselves to be able to just react. And so I'm like, for a guy like LeBron, right, or all these other athletes that are accustomed to reacting to a defense or a movement or whatever the case is,
That's right.
It's easy to get paralyzed standing over a golf ball because and then on top of that, it's this stick that's not symmetrical like a baseball bat. The movements are multiplanar, and so
it's a dumb game.
It's ridiculously complicated. And no matter how athletic you are, like you said, occasionally the hockey player is equipped because they're in that right position with a slap shot, that's there's a lot of parallels to the impact position of golf with that. And so, but most of the time they get humbled and they go, oh, I have to practice a lot to be good at this.
Yep.
Like a lot.
It is a game that but the beauty is you have to train skills. And this is the part that drives me crazy is people try to create emotion without understanding skills. Like if you can't control face and path ratio, it doesn't matter. Like you're not good enough to play this game at a high level. You know, timing of your golf swing, to me, rhythm is massive. People don't even pay attention to rhythm.
Yeah.
Rhythm is the swing. Like if
Yeah.
your rhythm is off, it's all broken. But the beauty is the rhythm changes from full swing to short game to putting. There's a slight rhythm change. And again, if you aren't attuned and trained and understand that change in rhythm, it's hard. So a lot of people fail, but they don't know why they failed. And that's, to me, that is, I hate that for an athlete or a player, is like failing and not knowing why I fail. If I
Oh
know
yeah.
why I failed, I can fix it. But a
Yeah.
lot of players fail and just sit there and go, "It was so good yesterday."
Yeah. It will be because they're probably doing things that are reinforcing bad habits that they don't realize is reinforcing bad habits.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times they just don't practice short game.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's an unfortunate thing that I see far too much with golfers, weekend warriors or not, which is expecting great results when they've not dedicated any time to practicing their full
Yeah.
swing or chipping and putting and
No.
pitching
Yeah.
or bunker
That's
play
it
or any of it,
goes back into hope, right? Hope's a
Yeah,
bad plan.
bad plan.
I hope it works today.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
luck with that. No,
yeah,
but to me, I always equated golf to like the decathlon. Like to be good at golf, you have to be good at, if you can't drive the ball well enough, hit it far enough and control it well enough, you can't play the game. If you can't hit your irons far enough, can't control variance enough, you can't play this game well. If you're around the green, if you cannot move in time correctly and control the face, you cannot play this game well. If you're on the putting green, if you cannot control time, distance, and some of those factors, you cannot play this game well. So the hard part, again, to me, the perfect golf situation would be you have a driver of the golf ball, you'd have an elite athlete hitting irons that only hits irons, then you'd have an elite athlete around the green. So if you didn't miss the green, that they would be able to hit the exact shot that they need at that time to hit it really close. And then you'd have a performance expert on the putting green that only putts. That is every other sport, right? That
yeah.
is
Right.
every other sport we talk about. But in
Yeah,
golf, you have to be good at every single one of those pieces to be good at
yeah.
this game.
100%.
There's the challenge, you
Well, and
know?
that's what I think, like you mentioned it earlier, is the pursuit. That's what's so beautiful about golf is like it can't be mastered. You can,
Never.
if you're willing to learn and willing to work, you can always get better at it. But there's ebbs and flow in the game where you're going to be really dedicated to trying to keep more balls in the fairway off the tee, and so that part of your game will improve. But because you've reduced
You
the amount of
neglect it.
time you neglected your putting or your chipping just a hair, maybe it was only 5 or 10%, you're going to start seeing that fall a hair, and it's just this
Yeah.
constant battle because you got to do all of it, right?
And I'll tell you, as a coach, when I work with really high end players, they'll be like, my scoring average is the same, but to them, they'll be like, I feel like I'm working harder. So they're working harder to keep their scoring average where it's been, which usually means that there's a variance piece that's slipping somewhere. We need to go find it, whether it's variance off the tee, variance approach shots, variance on speed control on the putting green. There's a variance out there that's putting pressure on them. They just haven't put their finger on it other than knowing it's just not right. I'm hanging in there, but it's not easy. Like sometimes, I'm a really high end player, high end amateur, touring pro, shooting my scoring average. Some days it's just easy. Like those easy days are gone. It's grind, grind, grind. So, and that's where I would say you definitely have a data component piece. Once you get into the 70s, I always say putting and short game really don't matter until you're about 70. Once you get in the 70s, because again, if you look at it this way, a touring pro averages roughly 29 putts. A good touring pro. A player that shoots 100 is going to have about 38 putts. So really, you're only 7 putts behind them
Yeah,
in talent,
yeah.
right? By total putts. But they're going to get to the green in about 40 shots, and you're going to get to the green in about
65.
62. 62, 60, somewhere in that ballpark. So where's the bang for the buck? Well, it takes 3 to 4 shots of variance control to equal 1 shot on the putting green. So it's really important. So all your high handicaps out here, it's much more important to learn to control the golf ball, face and path control, and understand that component. And then once you get in the 70s, now we can start worrying about pulling these really individual threads. Putting, short game, focus becomes really, really important. I'm not saying neglect those, don't neglect, but the amount of training time is much different
Yeah.
than
you
So
have to, yeah, those
yeah,
guys that are consistently shooting between 85 and 105 have to be able to find some predictability off the tee and with contact with their irons. Because
that's the game.
if they can't do that, then they're always going to be giving away strokes, and it doesn't matter. They could have a Phil Mickelson short game, but if you're
Yep.
taking 2/3 of your strokes or more before you get to the green, you're still
Yeah.
shooting 100 plus, right? So
You could be the best putter on earth, but if you only have one putt and 18 holes inside of 20 feet for birdie, one, and everything else is 25 to 40 feet from the hole, you're gonna putt a lot.
yeah, you just are. Yeah,
So again, I always tell people like if you shoot hundreds or nineties, simple stat keeping. It's this simple. Ready? Total putts. I know people bang on total putts, but to me, total putts is a good opener of what's going on. So, how many putts did I have per round? Subtract that from your score. How many shots did it take me to the green? So we know at 100 it's going to be about 62. We know at 90, it's going to be about 54, 50, right in there. So when I shoot 90 today, was my number 54, 37-ish? You're in the 90s. That's perfect. That's what the score should look like. If I put it really well and I shot 95, but I only had 24 putts, ruh-roh, that
yeah,
means I
yeah,
had 65. So to me, just understanding how fast I get to the green and how fast do I get off the green is that's all the data science you need until you kind of get in the 80s. And once you start getting in the 80s, now we got to say, all right, then I say what we call offense and defense, right?
yeah,
So once you get in the 80s, is my offense is how many greens do I hit? But more importantly, how many were inside of 20 feet? Because roughly 90% of all birdies come 20 feet in. So how fast, how often do I hit the green, and how often do I hit it within 20 feet? And then what is my conversion rate? So that's offense. And then defense is how many times do I miss the green? How many times when I miss the green do I hit it within 6 feet? Because roughly all your par saves are going to come within 6 feet. And then now I have offense and defense. Now I can start to really understand what parts of the game are giving me grief. And then once we get in the set, well, now we got to know why your 7-iron doesn't get inside of 20 feet enough, or why your drive. So again, you can kind of step down data science wise what you need to understand when you get there. So there's a lot of great systems out there that cost a lot of money and ask you to spend an hour to put in data. For the higher handicaps, and as we're learning, you don't need that
you can
much.
use big round numbers like that.
You can use big round numbers that'll give you
Yeah,
an understand where to go work.
yeah,
And then you could improve those pieces. But again, once you start getting in the 70s, then you really got to start peeling that onion back. You've got to be looking
yeah,
at all these pieces. And the
yeah,
hard part is kind of what you talked about earlier. I put emphasis on one point. These other points that are really high start to drop. This so the key question, and this is where coaching gets involved, is that worth us chasing right now?
yeah. Right,
Right?
right.
Because we could chase this and make this better, but it might be a short-term detriment. What do we need to be good today? Do we need to be good next month? Do we need to be good a year from now? So those are the decisions as a player and a coach. You need to sit down and go, does this make sense for us to go here? And I'm going to tell you right now, was it Hank Haney, or I don't remember, with Tiger? It might have been, what's the other guy in Florida? Sean Foley or
Sean
Haney. I
Foley.
can't remember. Yeah, one of the two, when they were working with Tiger, they said, the number one thing we're going to work with Tiger Woods is get him to be the best accurate driver of the golf ball.
Yeah,
Not
that
just
was
distance,
Sean.
but accuracy.
Yeah,
Why? The dude is the best golf. Why are we trying to get him to be the most accurate? Makes no sense.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
did it help Tiger? No.
You're gonna spend so much time helping him hit 4 more fairways a day, and then his iron play is gonna dwindle a hair.
Yeah, it's like
Like
that.
it's
That I'll never forget when I read that. I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
yeah, don't make any sense.
No, that dude is so good out of the rough shape.
Yeah,
Like, don't.
he
Like,
doesn't
let's
even.
just keep
Yeah,
work. Let's keep
it'll be
working
fine.
on shaping the. Hey, Tiger, can you hit it through this circle in that tree and turn it? Oh yeah.
I got that. It's fine. Yeah,
There's a LPGA player. Her name is Lauren Coughlin. She was on the Solheim Cup. I recruited her way back in college. I still help her out every once in a while when all hell breaks loose. But ball striking wise, she's Tiger Woods savant. It's spooky.
really.
I want you to hit a 5-yard cut and do this. Okay. Now, if you asked her, how do you do that? Well,
Yeah, just do it.
just do it. It's
Yeah,
awesome. Absolute savant. But but she has such an understanding, and that's her strength. And just like Tiger, that's a strength. Like,
yeah,
going away from that strength is death. Like,
Yeah.
I tell any athlete, if you're a mini tour player listening to this, I want to make it on the big tour. You're there. You're freaky at something. I don't know what it is. So you can't be average at everything and be a good golfer at the tour level. You got to be freak at something.
Yeah. One part of the game, you're great at it.
Scotty is a freak at ball striking. Like, Scotty Scheffler is an absolute ball striking freak. Rory is a driving freak. Like, they're all freaks at something. So whatever your freakdom is, you protect that. You
Yeah.
build a wall around it. You put guards, armed
Yeah.
guards to protect that. And you
And
don't
you
let people.
dedicate time to keeping it great.
Yep. And you do not let people touch that until you have a relationship with a coach and an understanding of why we need to do something to maybe enhance that, but you protect that thing at all costs. I have seen tour pros talking with the guy that's stacking pyramids, asking for swing advice. I've seen people that rock gut bottom, like, what? What would you do?
No, nothing. I just mean like that.
Yeah, no, you're
I would
like,
hate to see that.
I was at a women's US Open, and I saw this lady over in this, and she had all these gizmos trying to get, I don't even know what they were working on. And I'm like, you're at the US effing Open and you think you're going to survive this is your training leading into the Open?
Yeah.
Good luck. Good
Yeah.
luck.
You're
And
right.
it did not work well for her. But
Yeah. I can't
that
imagine that.
component and that understanding, again, I mean, golf is a great game. It's a challenge. Enjoy it. And I tell any athlete, just enjoy variance. Understand variance, enjoy variance. If you understand your variance and enjoy it, golf is good. Because I've hit many a great golf shots that were in my variance cone that ended up in some really squirrely places. And I
Yeah.
can't get mad because I should have aimed better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that I hit a push draw, and sometimes it's just going to be a push. And I started it over a roadway, and it stayed in the roadway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this like kind of awakening to dispersion that's come about, like, and really been talked about in the last 10 years has been so good for golfers and creating and developing and holding the right expectations in their head. Because prior to that, it was always, why didn't I hit this shot dead nuts on the button exactly how I wanted to every time? It's because, well, you're just not going to do that. You're going to hit that golf shot that you want to hit exactly, like, maybe if you're an elite player, like maybe 5 times around. Otherwise, it's just going to be hopefully in that dispersion, right? But it's not going to be perfect.
It's all yeah, to give you a good idea of this, like, I know a lot of the 3D guys that do a lot of 3D work or 6 degrees of motion, like seeing the entire body work. And a lot of them really thought that they were going to say, hey, we're going to be able to break this down so that we can control the movement so well, we can make you a robot. Well, what we don't know, human body is just messy. It's messy.
Yeah, can that thing, like, can it control my adrenaline and heart rate and my emotions on the course?
But even
Because
me taking, like, the water bottle sitting here, right? Me grabbing this time after time, I can do it. But if you actually looked at the 6-degree movement, things are all moving a little bit different.
each
Different
time,
muscles are firing at different times. So every movement, so the funny part is we don't do the same golf swing twice, ever. We're messy. Signing in your name on a sheet of paper, we're messy. First time looks really good. Second time's a little different. By the 10th signature, it doesn't even look like the first thing. We're messy. So what we've got to understand as an athlete inside of golf is we're messy. These components it's moving with a purpose, and it will get to the point where you are really good at it, but it's always just a hair different. So understanding that variance and understanding that everything won't be perfect. I do finger dispersions. You've seen aim point where they hold up fingers on the putting green, shows you where to aim. Fine. Go to YouTube, tons of free videos, learn it. It's a great way to read greens. But there's also, if you do this with your full game, so each finger is roughly 3%. So the average tour player is about a 6% miss. So their variance is roughly 2 fingers. So if the flag sticks here, you put 2 fingers right of the hole because they're a draw player. Right of the hole, 90% of their time, they're going to end up within these 2 fingers, right? But 3 fingers would be 9%, 4 fingers would be 12%. So as a higher handicap, and you don't know if you go left to right or right to left, so you could basically put 4 fingers on each side of like a driver, right? I'm aiming dead middle of the fairway, 4 fingers. Well, that gives me 12% miss on each side. And then you look to see, make sure there's no trouble. I can wail away dead center. Well, if I go dead center and this part of the, this part of the fingers is now in the hazard, but all I have to do is shift my hands a little bit to the right and then right here, dead in the middle, aim there. I can swing away and that hazard no longer becomes an issue. It's great. So you can use finger dispersions on the golf course and think it as a TrackMan on the golf course. It's a fun way to kind of move around the golf course. And it's a great way to practice this side of training if you don't have a TrackMan or things like that. Hold up 3 fingers as an 80 shooter. Can I hit 10 balls? How many of them are within 3 fingers? So again, starting to learn to control that variant. So, and again, it gives you a really good aiming trick out on the golf course. So it's a
Do
fun way
you
to kind of move your way around.
yeah, do you like aim point like as a recommended like strategy
I do.
for putting?
Yeah, I was an aim point instructor for 15 years.
Okay.
I was actually the #1 aim point instructor in the US. My data science company partner and the aim point guy were one and the same, and we had a falling out. So I no longer teach aim point, but I think it's brilliant.
Gotcha. Okay.
To me, if you have trouble reading greens, it's a great way to learn to read greens. I mean, being able to, and again, it goes back to whiskey and all that, being able to capture a feel, reproduce that feel, and then, so no, I think if you're not a natural green reader, or you play a lot of golf courses that like if you play your home track all the time, it's easy.
Right.
I just know it breaks this way, and
Yeah.
I don't even need to read it because I just know I'm here, cups here, it's going to do this. But if you go play a bunch of different golf courses, it's really hard to be a good green reader. So I think aim point is really, it is a benefit.
Okay.
I think it's a great system.
Yeah.
I just had my problems were outside of the system.
No, that's fine. The reason I asked is because I know it's become popular. For me personally, like since I started playing golf, putting has always like come easy to me. Like I've
Yeah.
always I've just been able to kind of for whatever reason read greens decently and then react and most importantly than anything hit that start line that was a line that was correctly read, right?
Yeah.
So there's a good putt. Whenever I'm helping people and we talk putting, I really try to hone in on that, which is building skills or whatever that is based around repeatedly hitting that start line, whether it's
Yeah.
6 inches, a foot, 18 inches, I don't know, whatever the person feels comfortable. Maybe it's 4 feet. Do you agree with that? Do you like that? And a second to kind of that is, do you find that there's enough consistencies within, we'll say, the 90 to 100 golfers that there's some tried and true advice and whatnot you're giving to them that's working?
Yeah. So at the simplest form in putting, 3 skills you have to be good at: read, speed, start line. And they're much more complicated than just read, speed, start line. So, start line is face control, contact control, how well do you hit in the center of the face, low point control, path control, and each of these just branch out, branch out, branch out. So at the highest level, yes, these are the easiest pieces. Some people read greens great. Awesome. Love it. Some people don't. And the problem is when you have a player that can't read a green well, what am I going to do? My favorite story was Martin, the golfer that played with Casey Martin, coaches with the Ducks, has the leg issue, was probably just as good as Tiger, kind of they said back in when they were at Stanford, but had the leg issue, kind of career shortened. I went out, I was teaching the women's team aim point. And he came over as nice as can be, and he's like, we started talking about aim point, and he goes, "Well, this is what I do." So he literally, it's big breaking putt. He goes, "I stand up." He goes, "Oh, I feel a little crowded," so I back away, and he putts it like a 30-footer, boom, dead in the center of the hole. I go, "That's awesome." I go, "Can you teach your 10 guys to do that?" And he just kind of looked at me and goes, "Uh-uh." I said, "We're here to fill the gap for those other 5 that can't do that." So as a coach, what I have to understand is some people can do what I do. Some people can do what I do and do it even better. Some people, I tell it to them, they don't have a clue. So, you know, having that resource of just being able to say, "Hey, do you feel a little bit of slope? Do you feel a lot of slope?" For higher handicaps, I think the best thing is, do you stand in the middle of the putt? Do you feel a little bit of tilt? Then it's going to break a little bit. You feel a
Yeah.
lot of tilt? Well, it's going to break a lot. And
Yeah.
at least you get them feeling and thinking that way. Again, now I'm creating a feel and emotion and an experience, and they can duplicate that in the future. So no, I think for a lot of people, I think aim point is really good. There's a bunch of other kickoffs and spin-offs and whatnot. But one of the keys is but to me, distance control is 100% more important than green reading. Most people don't ever work on distance control, right? My ability to deliver the ball on the putting green at the right speed. Like that to me is massive. But everyone works on what? Face control, start line drills. Like if I go to any putting course, if I watch any lesson, I go around the world and I teach, and I'll be sitting I have a half a day, so I'll go to a golf course. Putting greens are typically free. So I'll walk in the pro shop. Hey, I'm in town. Can I borrow a putter? A couple golf balls, and I'll go out on the putting green and I'll, roll some putts. And there's a guy giving an instruction. I'm always listening. I'm like, what's he teaching? I want to learn. And
Yeah.
it's start line, grip,
Yeah.
grip. And I'm like, well, but he's hitting it 20 feet past and 6 feet short. Like start line and grip is not his main issue right now. It's speed control. What does that look like? So to me, like I said, for higher handicappers, being able to control speed is massive. And the math formula is really simple. So if you have a 10-footer, take your putter back a certain distance that you can hit at 10 feet. And quick rule is for somebody that likes to move fast in time, it's going to be about 8 inches.
You mean more like, for simplicity, like a pop stroke, maybe?
Yeah,
Is that
more
what
of
you're
a
saying?
pop stroke per someone
Yeah,
that's
okay.
someone that's grown up on munis,
Yeah, okay.
right?
Hit
Right.
it hard.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you got to learn to hit it hard because the grass, these
Yeah.
greens are rolling 6s or 7s,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
more of a posture. So it's going to be about 8 inches back, and you're going to move in like one syllable, dog. So I'm going to go dog, dog. So putting stroke is roughly 2-to-1. This is where I said rhythms are crazy, right? Full swing is roughly 3-to-1. So full swing is completely different than putting. Putting is a swing, but it's a different part of the game. It's just different. Sorry.
Yeah.
Welcome to golf. You chose it,
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah.
You did. Deal
Yeah.
with it, right?
Yeah.
So it's a 2-to-1 ratio, right? So if you go 8 inches back, dog, dog, that's going to give you a very consistent stroke. Now, if you want to move slow, you grew up on Whistling Straits or Oakmont and you're used to playing 13s, 14s as whatever. My goal is to stop the golf ball. It's not to get the ball to the hole. It's how
Yeah.
can I stop the golf ball? So then now we're going to look at maybe for a 10-footer, we're going to take the putter back. Let's go to 16 inches, give or take. But we're going to use a 3-syllable word, Virginia. I'm kind of slow. That's the only 3-syllable word I know. So you go Virginia, Virginia, right? But now I'm using length and time together. Once you get length and time together, I can control distance. So once I have the 10-footer down, in between would be a 2-syllable word. Look at me, donut. I'm a big dude. I like a good donut. So again, can I take the putter back 12 inches? Donut. So now I understand time and length together. And then whatever distance it makes to hit 10 feet, I double that, and that's my 30-footer. But I'm going to move time the same. So now it's, dog, let's say 1-syllable word, dog. So instead of 8 inches, now I'm going to go 16 inches, which happens to be the slowest putting stroke for 10. So I can put it 30 feet, or I can take it back that same length, just change time, and I can hit it 10 feet. So once you start to understand time and length together, you open up speed control. If you try to do it with length only, good luck, right? If it takes me 8 inches to go 20 feet or 10 feet, and it takes me 12 inches to go 20 feet, because that's in between your 20 and 30. So you're telling me I'm good enough to stop the putter on length every single time, a quarter of an inch behind no, we're not. We're messy. Goes back to our messy conversation. So I've got to be able to control time and length together. That's how I become a really good distance putter. So again, if you kind of understand these components, so once you understand what you're good at or what your home course is, and then I always say train outside of that, train slower, train faster. In case I go to Europe where the greens typically are slow, or I qualify for the US Open or the state am, they might get the greens up to 13, 14. That's something that I'm not accustomed to. I got to be able to change. But again, being distance control just takes a little bit of discipline and understanding. And once you own that, if you can distance control with the best players in the world, like you could play with anybody. Like you could put me on the putting green with anybody in the world and I can compete because I can control distance. I can control face. Now, can I get the read right?
Yeah. Well,
So,
it's fun.
so
It's funny.
yeah.
It's funny that people don't understand that more often, because when you talk about distance control in every other part of the game, with the exception of driver for the vast majority of the time, we're only talking about the importance of distance control, and then secondarily to that is the dispersion,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I do. Yeah.
You don't hit 3-iron when you need an 8-iron,
No.
because even if you hit it
Look,
straight, it's not good. So
athletes come up to me all the time, and I'm like, all right. And this is probably my favorite question. So if you ever come and find me and you want to come work with me for a day, you're probably going to get this question. Number one, I'll say I'm a blind journalist, so I can't see you putt. Describe to me how you move the putter. And most people are like, okay, they can't, right? They're
forward
just
and
like,
backwards. Yeah.
but if I would have said, all right, describe to me to hit that 40 little nippy wedge with a lot of spin, I'm like, oh, I move it a hair back in my stance. I actually open my chest to get a little bit, like they walk me through all this stuff, but a putting green, they're like, so I do this all the time. I'm like, all right, tell me how you control distance. And they'll immediately go to a drill. Oh, I putt to the collar. And so you hit 10 balls, and by the seventh ball, you've got it really narrowed in, and you just roll it up to the collar every time. So in golf, do they give you 7 putts before your putt that counts? No. So again, so the funny part is most people, like I said, again, I want you to tell me how to hit a punchy little 5-iron that bends right to left and attacks a back left pin. Man, a player can sit there and they'll be, oh, I feel the wind. I got this stance. I take, I'm ever
This
so
shaft
slightly.
lean, this ball position.
Yeah, I'm putting a little bit more pressure in my pinky finger to, all. And then again, I'm like, how do you make a 3-footer? And they're like, they
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
And so my job as a coach and your job as a student is not to learn the results. It's to learn the skills to achieve that result. And I think most players always try to get to the result. I went to a YouTube video. I'm going to go see this YouTube influencing coach, and they're going to give me the tools. And they're not. They're going to give you a basic lesson, and you're going to drop $1,000. Hats
Yeah.
off to you if that's what you want. I'm all
Yeah.
for it. But that long-term growth takes a little bit more, and it's you as a player understanding these components. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you can get somebody putting it decently at speed, they're good putters. Like, I always tell players, think of your last 2-3 competitive rounds that you played with buddies or tournament play. What would distance and control? What could you have gained if your distance and control was better? And they're like, oh, there was a 3-putt on 7. I know you never 3-putt, but some of us out there do. There was a 3-putt on 7. I left a 10-foot birdie putt 6 inches short. Like, then in their head, they're
Yeah.
going,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then so again, that training method of understanding to deliver the ball correctly. And then more so, like, how often can I leave a putt short? Like, players don't know this. Like, so inside of 10 feet, ideally 1 out of 100 is short for the best players on earth. For 10 to 20, you're looking at about 10% short. So if you do a putting drill, and again, as you're getting better, if you're shooting in the 70s and we're doing a putting drill and you leave 1 putt short, I allow that. You leave 2 putt shorts, game's over. And they'll be like, why? You didn't get it through the hole. I hate never up, never in, but it is literally true. If you don't get it to the hole, it'll never go in. So again, getting a player to understand what it takes to get through the hole at distances, and then at 50 feet, the ball ends up dead on top of the hole. So leaving putts short and long at 50 feet is fine. But inside of 20 feet, everything should be through the hole. Once we get to 20 to 30 and 30 to 40, we're going to start leaving more percentages short. So I'm okay with short putts once we get outside of 25 feet. But inside of training, like, a lot of people think that's good. And you're like, no, it's not. Like, we've got to get it through the hole at 20 feet and in. Because if we don't, and I work with a lot of college players, and they think they're really good putters. And they might be good at pieces. But I'll say to them all the time, I'm like, you're playing with the best player in the country. I don't care who it is. And you strike it just as well as they do. Because I'm a putting coach. You're coming to see me for putting. I know your putting's not great right now for whatever
Right.
reason. You are striking it as good as them. You have as many birdie opportunities as them, but you leave 2 short per round, and they're hitting 2 through the hole per round. So over 3 days or 4 days, depending on the tournament, that's 8 putts that they're taking through the hole. You don't think they're not going to make a couple? Your 8, I
Yeah.
guarantee you, aren't going in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're giving them, let's say, 2 per tournament. Good luck. So you're taking the
Yeah.
best player in the country, and you're giving them at least 2 shots. Would you have shook their hand on the first hole and gone, hey, I'm so confident I'm giving you 2?
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
That's what you're
Like
doing.
you are doing that. So we've got to understand what's good, what's not, what components, what skills need to be good, and then there's your stew, there's your slurry, and if you can manage that, man, you can play this game. Now you won't win every day, you won't win every week, but you can play this game. And over a long-term session, you're going to be tough to beat. But most players don't ever get there. They get somewhere. They get
Lost
fixated
before it. Yeah.
they get fixated on a component that might not really matter that much at the time. And they put all their, they chase the rabbit down the, Alice in Wonderland, they chase the rabbit down the hole. You're in the wrong hole.
Yeah.
You should be on this hole over here figuring out how to do X, and you're over here making yourself 1% better. There's a 15% gap over here on distance control or, variance with your mid irons or whatever. So no, I think to me, golf is, I mean, it is the best puzzle on earth. You'll
It
never
really is.
solve it. You'll never solve it.
The thing that I hear more than anything, because I'm the type of person, man, where if I'm at the country club, I'll pair up with somebody random I don't know. If I want to go play a public golf course, I'm happy to play with a single or a double or a threesome.
Yeah.
Like it's all good, So because I'm open to that, I hear it all the time, which is I got it figured out. Oh, I got it. I figured it. Oh, I figured it.
Let's bet. Once a player says, I got to figure it out, I go, let's bet. Right now, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know you, but I'm willing to bet you. 'Cause it
100%.
ain't going to happen.
Because what you just told me is you're mentally lost with whatever it is you
Yeah.
think you got figured out,
No,
because it's just not, there's no part of it that you can truly figure it out, right? You can learn things and you can implement skills and practice routines and block practices and playing practices and all these things, and you can increase probabilities, right?
Yep.
That's what you can do.
Yeah.
But you can't
Totally.
figure it out 100%, nothing, not one part of it. So
You never do. That's the beauty of the game. It's that carrot that hangs out in front of you that you just can't reach.
yeah,
And man, you get close some days, and then some days it's hanging right there, and then you just nut, and it just slides a little bit, like it's so close.
yeah,
But that's the reason tour pros are changing swing coaches. They're all chasing that next piece
yeah,
because they even know. Even
yeah,
Scotty Scheffler knows it's not perfect.
yeah,
This could be better. That could be better. Like boom, boom, boom. And and for some they do get incrementally better and better. And for some they chase the wrong things and you never hear of them on tour ever again. That is disproportionately more common than the person just making incremental growth, getting better and better. You tend to see people, well, I need to get more distance. So they, in the entire offseason, all they're doing is trying to get faster, stronger, swing faster. But what they forgot is there's a variance cone, right? Now my swing speed has gone up by 20 miles an hour, but I'm losing some variance with that. So now my miss is getting out of bounds, massive misses where before it was rough, first cuts, maybe. Now it's second, third, and woods. And
yeah,
all of that is because they did increase. Their goal was to increase swing speed. And I see this a lot with college players. I got to get longer. I got to get longer. But if you blow up your variance, like if you can get longer and stay within your 6% variance, fine. But if you're getting longer and you're losing variance percentage of miss as you're going,
yeah.
it's the
It's better
wrong
to
move.
dial. It's better.
It's the wrong move. So on tour, it basically says at 100 yards in the rough is the equivalent of hitting 180 out of the fairway. Now, remember, a tour player at 180 is hitting an 8-iron. So they're hitting an 8-iron versus wedge. So it's a 2-club difference. That's the advantage. Now, if you listen to the golf magazines, you listen to hit it as far down there as you possibly can, to a point.
Yeah,
To a point. So,
yeah,
again, it's just understanding the game and understanding what you need to do to get better. There's a lot of tour guys you see that try to get longer, and
yeah,
they're just
yeah,
gone.
yeah,
That wasn't the right fix. And then, some are smart enough to go, well, you know what? I got on tour without having that. I'm going to go back to what got me on tour, and they'll fall back into that and they'll show up again, maybe with a little bit of enhancement instead of the Ferrari. Maybe they have like a very, very nice Nissan Maxima. I didn't,
Brian,
I
Brian,
didn't need the
Brian
Ferrari.
Campbell. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. But I tooled it back, and the Maxima had a little bit more horsepower, a
yeah,
little better suspension, and it's a much better game for me. So yeah, so that's the hard part. And then again, I always say for the player, that's the hard part. because again, you're being sold a bill of goods by a lot of people saying that they can do X, Y, Z. And I always say the golf magazines are the worst place to start because for now, I've been reading Golf Magazine and Golf Digest and all those for 30 years now. And they're still telling me every week, learn to hit it further,
Yeah.
stop slicing it.
Yeah. It's
I'm
funny
like,
how that's never gone away. Yeah.
30 years, you haven't figured this out yet, boys? Like,
Yeah.
was your last two articles not correct? Is this
Yeah.
the article that's correct? So, no, it is kind of funny, but yeah, I'm like, God, in 30 years, I thought you guys had this baby definitively saw like this is
Yeah.
the way to do it.
Right.
But no, it's the
Nope.
golf industry.
Yeah. Brian, thank you so much for your time, man. I have seriously
No
enjoyed
problem.
this. Tell me real quick, what are you looking forward to in 2026? If listeners, they don't know you yet, find you, they want to work with you, they want to learn more about you, where's the place to get that info?
You can find me at golfcask.com. So it's GOLFCASK, cask as in a whiskey cask. You can find all my information there. If you want to learn golf, you can email me and we can set up a time. But more so, just come join us inside the system. You're going to get a lot of the stuff I talked about in video format anyways. I try to be funny in delivery. I try to keep it lighthearted. Golf is a frustrating game. You don't need me to tell you how bad you are, but hey, let's figure out how to get you better. So a lot of my instruction and my stuff is just, it's lighthearted. So again, if you like golf, whiskey, cigars, any of those three, and travel is big in the
Travel.
community. Those are our 5 pillars, right? So if you like those 5 components, come join us. It is honestly free. You literally put your name and address, and that's all I ask for. And you come in, you can start immediately put in your favorite whiskey pour, your favorite golf courses. And ideally, the more people in the system that do it is the better, because I do have a data science brain. And the cool stuff that I'm going to be able to do with this data, if we can get people with golf
Get
courses
enough
and
of it?
whiskey puddings, oh, dude, yeah, I'll be a
Yeah.
kid in a candy shop. But yeah, you can definitely tell me. You can find me at golfcast.com. You can go to Instagram at golfcast, YouTube at golfcast. Yeah, come join us, man. I look forward. To me, like I said, that opening that first whiskey, but man, the first time I meet somebody at a golf course to play 9 holes and having a blast, having a pour, I think to me is the most fun learning about you. So again, come join us at GolfCask, and I always say there are no people that you don't know. They're just friends that you haven't met yet.
Yeah.
So
Man,
I
that
look
is
forward to
absolutely the
meeting you.
truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Brian, you too. Guys, appreciate you listening in. Be sure to share the show, and we will see you for the rest of season 2 in 2026.
And
Peace.
I'm sorry for running you over your time.
No, not at all. No problem at all. I was looking at it, and my wife's got to go do a photo shoot here in about 30 minutes, and so I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to wrap it up. But
You can just tell me to shut up at any time.
no, it's all good. Thank you, Tom, man. I really appreciate you,
No problem.
blocking off the time. But I'm gonna sign up for that. It's free, you said, to get
Yeah,
on
it's
there.
free. Jump on in there and like what we're trying to do, what's really cool this year is we're trying to create syndicates. So it's 5 people groups. So if you and 4 buddies, 3 buddies can come together, meet once a month, meet for a pour, meet for putting challenge, meet for a whiskey, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just start to create syndicates because my goal by the end of 2026, I want enough syndicates that we're going to start talking shit. And then we're going to go meet up. We're going to go play.
Go
And we're going to
play.
have a
I
whiskey,
love that.
cigar, golf competition between the 5 of us. And we're going to be, oh, it's going to be fun. So
That'll
my
be a
goal
good
is,
time.
so that's going to be the community side. So yeah, if you and you can call your syndicate, you can call it 3 Wiggles, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Like cross brand that way in there and say, hey, here's our 3 Wiggle group, and Bailie,
Yeah.
you're a fucking moron on this, and just start ripping me. I love it, man. Rip me. I absolutely. If you're talking about me, I love it, man. Rip me
Yeah.
all you want.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have a couple buddies that would be interested, and like I said, start doing the challenge stuff. It'll be fun. And like I said, my goal, I would in my head, I plan on having events all over the country every
Okay.
month. Not there yet, but that's my
Yeah.
goal. And then, like I
Yeah.
said, I would love
What's your
once a year.
As of now,
Yeah.
what's your closest event to Missouri?
Uh, we're heading to Nashville in 2026. That'd probably be the closest. We're going to LA, so I'll fly
Okay.
over the top of you. But like I
Yeah.
said, if there's something cool, like I have a core group, man. We'll travel, dude. If we can come figure out something in Missouri, we'll fucking show up. We don't care.
Yeah.
Like if you're telling me there's golf, whiskey, and cigars, like this
Yeah.
group will go, okay, like,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
go.
When and where?
And yeah, so my goal, like I said, is that. But what I envision the end of the year tournament is bringing the syndicates from all over the world. bringing them to a venue, getting some sponsorship so nobody has to pay for shit, and just show up and just blow it out for a weekend and just be like,
Yeah. That
yeah.
dude, I mean, that's a plan that doesn't require a whole lot of convincing to guys that like
No,
golf
like
and
I said,
whiskey, you know?
you can sit around that and go, okay, I got 3 or 4, but yeah, we could do this.
Yeah. I mean, as you've been talking to like in the last 3 minutes, I'm like, I already know 2 people that, you know,
Yeah,
so
and just start there. Start
yeah.
with, like I said, start with 3. Like once a month, we do a whiskey blind tasting where, there'll be a host. Everyone brings their whiskeys in a nondescript bottle, give them, and then the host is the only one that knows the order and knows all of them. And then that's how you start to learn your tasting notes. And
Okay.
then once a month, you do a cigar. You guys sit around, just puff a cigar. Or if you guys don't like cigar, just don't even do that. Or like I said, you just show up and play 9 holes. Start to create that, and then other people are going to come and say, hey, why don't you come join us? And all of a sudden, your little sect gets bigger. But like I said, I would love to be able to have 50 or 60 syndicates all across the country and say, hey, on October 15th this weekend, we're going to be here. It's $30 a head because we got sponsorship, and then you got to pay for your room and board. Other than that, show up,
Yeah.
and here's what we're gonna do. We're playing golf. We're at Pinehurst. We're gonna play the Nest
Yeah.
for a fun kickoff, and then we're gonna go to the whiskey bar. And then the next morning, we're gonna play number 2. We're gonna go to the whiskey bar, and then
Yeah.
Sunday before we leave, we're gonna play number 4, and we're gonna, and then there's gonna be a couple of distillers that are gonna give you a bunch of shit as you walk out, and then there's cigars all throughout. If you can't say, honey, I need this weekend off, well, we got a problem. No.
Yeah. That's right. I'm with you on that.
So so that's what we're trying to build. So, yeah, get a couple buddies in. And like I said, just get them in the system and start using it. I'll engage anybody in the system. I'll be like, hey, what's going on? And then all content I make is driven by, so everything I do on YouTube is driven by the people in the system. I don't make videos for the world. I just use YouTube as a hosting platform.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
I know. They've been using me for years. I might as well use them.
Yeah. That's for sure. That's for sure. All right. Yeah. Appreciate it, man. Thanks. Bye.